Hello and welcome to another edition of the Paul's Body Engineering Podcast. Today, I wanted to talk, this subject is probably a touch controversial, a little bit taboo, and that is a discussion around alcohol. It's obviously very prevalent in our society. It's very common in terms of social settings, events, gatherings, barbecues, holidays. It becomes a norm. Friday afternoon when you're trying to knock off work and you want to wind down, alcohol is very much a mainstay in a lot of families' lives and a lot of people's lives. But it is also a significant inhibitor in someone trying to lose weight. Now, if you want to go from average to advanced in terms of your ability to look better, feel better, improve your sleep, improve your energy, improve your performance in the gym, build more muscle mass, and obviously drop body fat, then alcohol needs to be seriously considered. And I'm not here to tell you that it needs to be removed from your life altogether. You do not necessarily need to quit alcohol to get results, but you do need to control it. And that's the theme of today's podcast. Now, before we go any further, alcohol still counts. Alcohol contains 7 calories per gram. I repeat, 7 calories per gram. That is almost twice the calories found in protein and carbohydrates, which both contain 4 calories per gram. Those calories still contribute to your total intake. So whenever you're having that beer, and look, I know there's plenty of products out there that say they're calorie-free or sugar-free or low carb. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. What you're drinking still contains calories, because at the end of the day, what they're doing is they're not disclosing the alcohol sugar. So what may be only a 7-calorie, schooner of beer or 9-gram carbs of beer is actually more likely to be probably 25, because you're not considering the alcohol sugar that's in there. So those calories still contribute to the total intake. However, 1 or 2 drinks will not automatically make you gain body fat. Fat gain occurs when you consistently consume more energy than your body needs. The problem for most people is not always the first drink. It's what happens after it, and this is where people get unstuck. You have one drink, then another. The mixes begin adding up, your inhibitions drop, your food choices change, and the plan you had earlier in the day disappears. Now, whenever someone speaks to me that I've been coaching with for a while, and they ask about, they're going to an event, a wedding, a party or whatever, what's the plan of attack, what strategy should they go in? I always come up with a plan. I always come up with a strategy that they need to follow. Now, if it goes beyond that, then that's on them, and they've made that decision, and they can't have regret afterwards because they've clearly made that decision. But that point is really relevant. Your inhibitions drop, so your decision-making clarity and your logic does go out the window the more you drink. You start picking at food, then you order something on the way home, and a night that begins with a controlled couple of drinks can easily become an extra 1,000 to 2,000 calories, sometimes even more. Like, depending on the person and the circumstance, it could be a lot more. And that is where people come unstuck. They blame the alcohol, but it was the entire series of decisions surrounding it. If you want to drink and still make progress, you need some structure around it. Start by including your drinks within your daily calories. So this is where a plan comes into its own. If you have a plan in place and you go, right, I'm going to have a set amount of drinks for starters, and secondly, I'm going to actually stick to the same drink so I can control it and I can track it a little bit better. Do not eat your usual daily intake and then place another 500 to 800 calories of alcohol on top. You need to create some room for it. That does not mean starving yourself all day so you can drink all night. That's actually a really bad mistake. If you're low on food and you haven't eaten all day with the assumption that you're making room for alcohol, you're actually going to get drunker quicker. Okay, you're going to get inhibited quicker. Therefore, you're going to make poor decisions quicker. That usually makes things worse, right? You arrive hungry, alcohol affects you more quickly, and your ability to make sensible decisions drops. Instead, hit your protein early. So that is the key here. Hit your protein early. Build your meals around lean protein, vegetables, fruit, lower fat food choices. Protein helps keep you full and supports your training and recovery, of course. Lower fat meals can give you more room within your calorie target because dietary fat contains 9 calories per gram. For example, you might choose chicken breast instead of a fatty cut of meat. You could use low-fat yogurt instead of a high-calorie dessert. You could reduce oils, sauces, and dressings for the day. You are not removing food. And that's the thing, like when you are inhibited by alcohol or when you want to have a feed after a few drinks, you generally lean towards fattier food, saltier food, and just generally like food that you normally wouldn't choose. And it's because your body is craving salt, it's craving fluid, it's craving fat because of the alcohol effects. So we're not removing food. You are making calculated adjustments so the drinks fit the plan. Your choice of drink also matters. A standard spirit with a 0-calorie mixer will usually contain fewer calories than a cocktail filled with juice, syrup, or a soft drink. So again, think of the mixer. So if you're having a Scotch and soda or a Scotch and Coke, straight away, there's a big difference there, right? If you have a Scotch and Coke, go for a Coke Zero, go for a Pepsi Max. Straight away, reduce that sugar intake so you have a lot more control. Lower calorie beer and wine options can also reduce the total. Now, I just spoke about that, but even if it's marketed as lower calorie, yes, it still contains more than what's disclosed, but at the same time, it's still going to be lower than what a full calorie beer or wine option would be. So it makes sense to choose that one. This does not make alcohol healthy or calorie free. It simply helps you control the total intake. The next step is setting a limit before you go out. And this is what I spoke about before. You've got to have a plan, okay? It is important to go in with a strategy and to double down on that. Talk to the people you're going with. Like if you're going with a partner, fantastic, tell them, right, I only want to stick to 2 drinks. Please don't let me go beyond that, okay? This is a really good way to keep yourself accountable. Do not wait until you have already had 3 drinks to decide how many you're having, because of course, 3 drinks in, if you're a lightweight or if you're affected by 3 drinks, guess what? You're going to keep going. You're going to lower your inhibitions. Your decision-making ability is clearly going to be tarnished. Make that decision while you're still clear-headed. If the limit is 3, then the limit is 3. Space them out. Space them out accordingly. Maybe go alcoholic drink water, and that way you're going to spread them out evenly, firstly, but secondly, you're hydrating yourself as you go, and that slows the rate of drinking and may help you manage hydration as well. Because look, at the end of the day, if you have too many drinks, what happens? It's a dehydration hangover. That's what occurs. A hangover is primarily dehydration, the body screaming for water and electrolytes. It also gives you something to drink socially without continually adding more alcohol and calories. Eat before you go out as well. This is really important. You know, we spoke about this. You've got to eat before you go out. Have a proper meal containing protein, carbs, and some vegetables. Vegetables will give you hydration as well. Carbohydrates and protein will help line your stomach and make you feel fuller. Do not rely on whatever food is available at midnight. You should also decide what you are going to order before you arrive. So if you're going to a party, if you're going to a restaurant, if you're going to a wedding, at least investigate what options you have. So again, you've got a plan around food and you've also got a plan around alcohol. This removes some of the decision making once alcohol is involved. You already know what you're drinking. You already know how many you're having. You already know whether you are eating while you're out. The more decisions you make beforehand, the less control you need to find later in the night. Now, let's talk about the next day. The following morning, your body weight may increase. In fact, that's expected. That does not mean you've gained 1 kilogram of body fat overnight. Your scale weight can rise because of fluid changes, sodium, additional carbohydrates, inflammation, and the physical weight of extra food still sitting in your digestive system. To gain 1 kilo body fat, you would need a very large energy surplus. So do not wake up, see the scales and freak out. Do not slash your calories. Do not add 2 hours of cardio. Do not skip every meal. Return to your normal plan. Drink plenty of water. Move. Eat your usual meals. Get your steps completed. Train if you've recovered adequately enough to go into the gym and put in a good session. And then allow a few days for your weight to settle. The bigger concern is the pattern you create. Some people drink heavily every weekend, overeat, feel guilty, and then heavily restrict their food from Monday to Friday. By Friday, they are hungry again. They're tired. They're ready to repeat the entire process. That cycle creates more damage than moderate controlled drinking ever would. You are not being consistent just because you were strict for 5 days. The full 7 days counts. It truly does. You also need to consider your current goal. Like, you're never going to achieve a goal if that is the cycle that you continually find yourself in. If you are in an off season, if you're maintaining weight, or you're months away from a deadline, you will usually have more flexibility. If you are in a serious fat loss phase, if you're approaching your own wedding, if you're approaching a holiday, if you're approaching a photo shoot, chasing a specific result with a short time frame, alcohol has to be far less, okay? The consumption of alcohol has to be far less. No major goal that you're going to achieve is going to be achieved without some common sacrifice. You have to make some sacrifices in order for that to take effect and to be truly achieved. That does not make alcohol good or bad. It means the cost becomes greater as the importance of your goal increases. And look, if your goal is important, you will make the sacrifice. You will be happy to succumb to that and go, you know what? I'm not going to have a drink this weekend. And stick to that. Don't fall victim to social pressures, peer pressure. Oh, you can just have one. What's it going to matter? It's going to matter because it's going to spiral. It's going to send you over the edge. The closer you are to a deadline, the tighter your decisions need to become. Sleep is another important factor, and this is often overlooked. You know, even if you fit every drink in your calories, alcohol can still reduce the quality of your sleep. That can affect your recovery, your training performance, hunger, and food choices the following day. You may have stayed within your calories on, say, Saturday night, but if you sleep poorly and spend Sunday eating whatever is convenient, the impact continues. You know, anyone can, you put your hand up and say, right, I've had a big night Saturday, and everyone's experienced this, and then Sunday, all you want to do is eat junk food or crappy food or comfort food to help manage your day and your expectation around energy. Plan for that. Have food ready the following day. Keep breakfast and lunch really, really simple. Make sure you have plenty of water. Do not schedule your hardest training day for the morning after a late night if you know your performance will be poor. That's dumb. Manage your expectations, but keep your decisions under control. One night does not define your progress. What matters is what you repeatedly do across weeks and months. You've got to look at this from a broad lens. If you can have a couple of drinks, remain within your overall intake, manage your food choices, and return to your routine the next day, you're still making progress. Even if every drink leads to an uncontrolled weekend, then alcohol is clearly having a greater impact on your results than you want to admit. So if you're in denial, you need to sit down and have a look at that. You need to actually acknowledge where you sit, what's been happening. If this is a pattern that's on repeat, if you're consistently beating yourself up because you're not seeing results, then you've got to look at a deeper level here and go, okay, well, maybe there is a reason for this. It's not the plan you're following. It's not your coach's instruction. It's not your effort. It's clearly something deeper. This is where you need to be honest. Do not judge the night by what you planned to consume. Judge it by what you actually consumed. Now, chances are you may not remember if you've gone for a big night, okay? But it's worthwhile making that statement. Go back and audit your weekend if you can. Write down every drink, include the mixes, write down what you ate before, during, and after. Look at your sleeping patterns. Everyone's got an Oura Ring or a phone app that tracks your sleep. Look at your sleeping patterns. How did you train the following week? You know, several days after. How did you eat the following day? All of those things will give you a clear indication. This is where data matters. That gives you something useful to work with. You do not need to be perfect in this space, okay? We are, at the end of the day, very much a culture based around drinking and eating. So it is okay not to be perfect, but you need a system that works in real situations. Review what happened. Find the point where control dropped, okay? Was it at the 2-drink mark? Was it at the 3-drink mark? Was it 3 hours in? Was it 4 hours in? Then make one clear adjustment and handle it better next time. So again, if you are planning to go out again, there might be another event or a party or something on in 3 weeks' time. Learn from what you did the previous time. This is how we get better in any space across life. You learn from your failings, you learn from your experience, and you get better. Any successful person in business, finance, life will tell you that they made more mistakes than they care to admit, but they also made more mistakes because that's why they're successful now. They learn from those mistakes. And if you learn from those mistakes, if you learn from where you can improve, you're naturally going to improve. If you just put a line through it, wipe it, and move on, well, guess what? You're not going to improve and you're going to repeat the same cycle. So this is why it's important to firstly have a plan in place leading in, have a plan in place during, have a plan in place after, and then review that plan. And once it's done, and if it's gone to plan, great, then that's your template. If there's improvements that need to be made, well, clearly you can sharpen your pencil, make those improvements, head into the next event with an even better plan in place. But this isn't by any means an endorsement that alcohol can and will be included in your week to week, by far from it. This is just a way to manage it better. So I hope that makes a lot more sense. I hope that clears things up. It's a great way to look at things. You know, if you are one that is, I guess, cycling through something like this where every weekend or every second weekend there's an event, there's a party, or even if it's just a Friday drink where you need a glass of wine to wind down, or you've had a stressful day, but that is what's hindering your progress, you need to seriously have a look at it. Do you have a problem that you're not prepared to admit to? Do you have an issue? Can you go 3 to 4 weeks without a drink? Is that a possibility? Maybe that's a question you need to ask yourself as well, because it's so easy to fall into the habit of continually relying on alcohol to manage stress, anxiety, depression, etc. We don't want to go down that path if we can help it, but you've also got to acknowledge where you're at, and that's really, really important. So look, I hope this helps. I hope this clears things up. I hope this provides some insight to those that may not even be aware that this is a problem. But when you listen to this, it might have just raised a few alarm bells for you, and you might go, you know what, I need to have a closer look at this. And if that has been the case, then job is done. So look, thank you once again. If you're interested in any of my coaching services, because I do dive into this with my check-in process. I'm very comprehensive with my check-in process in terms of sleep and recovery, training performance. Obviously, dietary adherence and alcohol use comes into it, and we talk about that. You know, if we can improve from a fundamental level, it's going to make a big, big difference in the overall scheme of things. So if you are interested in any of my coaching services, please jump on paulsbodyengineering.com, or alternatively, simply send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll happily help you out. But for now, as I say to every client every single day, have a great day.